How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Shadowverse Evolve video here on Red Zone Rogue. I am Kel, one of the official Shadowverse Evolve English Edition ambassadors, and we are bringing back our Shadowverse Evolve deck tech deep dives, though in a little bit of a different format. I wanted to change this a little bit in order to get this out for you all at a more reasonable cadence, so I can get the information out to you in the quickest possible time, lining up with the new set release. Now, we are here at the cusp of the very first combined set release. This is the Worldreaver's Descent and Dominion of Darkness combined set, and we're going to be going over 6 decks today, 1 deck for each of the crafts in Shadowverse Evolve. Now, some of these are returning crafts, but generally speaking, these are the best decks in the game right now for this format. If you'd like to see other decks and other archetypes explored in maybe a future video, let me know in the comment section down below. Like if you'd like to see a different version of Sword, for example, let me know. But I did want to feature what is considered to be, or among the best. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our overlay and start talking about the decks. First up, we have Sword. All right, so here is our new format and new overlay. We're just going to be checking these out and discussing the decks on deck log, and they will actually have the numbers, the deck codes here. I guess there's numbers and letters, so you can check them out and, you know, look at the deck list on your own time for yourself. This one is a Wasteland Sword deck, and like I said, I think this is just straight up one of the best decks in the game right now, and this is the best version of Swordcraft. Now, this list hasn't really changed all that much from the deck tech video that I put out when this archetype first came about, and I think it is still, like I said, very, very strong, and a deck that will remain strong throughout this current format up until the next combined set. We do have one new include, which is this new Amelia Sunny Paladin from the Seaside Memories deck. She is a 4-cost 4/4. Whenever an officer follower is put into our field, select an enemy follower on the field and deal a 3 damage, which is pretty good. And that's not a once per turn, so you can trigger this multiple times a turn. And then you can pay 0, and you may summon an officer follower that costs 0, or that costs 2 or less from your hand or EX area, and you activate once per turn. So she kind of like can turbo stuff out, which is really, really good. We're only running 1 copy of her here, but she's still quite strong, and she's a great card that you can play on a later turn and then just drop like a whole bunch of officer followers and just machine gun down your opponent's board. We're also running Nagi Hisakawa in this deck. This is a level 4 4/4 all the way back from the Idolmaster set. On Fanfare, you banish 2 1-cost cards from your cemetery, and you choose up to 2 of the following. You select an enemy follower on the field, and you destroy it. That's really good unconditional removal. Or you deal 2 damage to each enemy leader, or you draw a card and discard a card. You get to choose 2 of these things. This card's really, really powerful, and we have a lot of 1-drops in the deck. This is a card that I like, you know, I shoehorn into a lot of my Sword decks, and I think it's really, really good here. We don't really do the lesson thing because we're not running an Idolmaster deck, but the other effect is good enough for this card to be quite strong. Not is an absolute powerhouse, and she's just incredibly good. A 4-cost 3/5 on Fanfare. We search your deck for a 1-cost Swordcraft follower, or I should revert that a little bit. It's a 1-cost Swordcraft card, so it doesn't have to be a follower. It can be a spell, it can be an amulet, so just keep that in mind. Put it into our EX area, and then we shuffle, and then we can pay 0, and we select an enemy follower on the field, we engage it, and it becomes boxed until the end of its controller's next turn. We can only do this once per turn, and then a boxed follower, they just lose all abilities, and they don't refresh during the start phase. So they just you kind of like lock something down. Yeah, Not is incredibly powerful, and we have some really, really good 1-cost cards to go get with her. We're also running Bunny and Baron, Spectre Duo, pretty simple card, 3-cost 3/3. Evos for 1. Well, you're going to want to Evo it. So the Evo version of Bunny and Baron, they're a 4/4, and then on Evolve, we choose one. We summon a Val Trusty Getaway Car token, or we search our deck for a Desperado shot and reveal it. This is the Val Trusty Getaway Car token. It's a 2-cost 3/3, and then you can activate a Bunny and Baron Spectre Duo on the field, and then you maneuver this card. And so what that means for the rest of the turn, it becomes a follower with 3/3. It's not that normally. That's why these are kind of like oranged out. I'm not gonna say grayed out, but they're oranged out. And then you can also pay a play point and engage 2 followers on your field, and you maneuver this card. So you can either do one of the two. And then it also has Storm, and then also on Strike, if there's another Wasteland Fall on your field, you get a draw card. It's super good. Obviously, you play this with Bunny and Baron, and you get a lot of value there. So that's great. Or we can go search our deck for a Desperado Shot, and then we put it in our hand. So we are running a single copy of Desperado Shot. It is a 2-cost spell, Wasteland Thief, and then we select an enemy fall on the field, and we deal it 4 damage. And if there's a Bunny and Baron, Spectre Duo, and a Val Trusty Getaway card on the field, we deal 6 damage instead, and then deal 2 damage to the selected follower's leader. So yeah, we only need one of these because we can go search for it with our Bunny and Baron, but it is still very, very good. Next up, we have Celia. Celia is fantastic. If you play Shadowverse Evolve, you know how good Celia is. She's a Swordcraft staple. 1 cost 2/2, and she has 2 evolves. She can evolve for 1, or she can evolve for 4, and she does different things depending on when you evolve her. So here is the one that is evolve for 1. She becomes a 2/2, and on evolve summons a Shield Guardian token. I should say remains a 2/2. Still really, really good. Since she costs 1 to play, if you're the second player and you have evo points, you can play her on turn 1 and then use your evo point to immediately evolve her, which is can be really, really strong. And then the 4-cost evo, she becomes quite powerful. She gets Storm, and she summons a Steelclad Knight and a Knight. So she summons a 2/2 and a 1/1 token. Yeah, she's very, very good. We also are running Not's Henchman. This is a great card to go fetch with Not. It's a 1-cost 2/2, and this card costs 1 less to play from the EX area if there is a Not Curse Queen on the field. So this is basically a free drop if you go search for it with Not. And on Fanfare, if there's a Not on your field, you get a draw card. So this is like a free 2/2 draw card with Not. So definitely one of the cards you want to grab. And as you can see, we are running an absolute truckload of 1-drops. We're also running the Quixotic Adventurer. We're not running the Evo version of this card. We just are running it for a 2/1 for 1 that we put a Dutiful Steed token into our EX area. Well, what is a Dutiful Steed token? Well, it is a 1-cost, and then you can bury this card, select a far on the field, and if it's a Wasteland follower, we give it +1/+1. It's just the Adventurer is just a really, really efficient card, and it's another nice little 1-drop. Like I said, we are not running the evolved version of it in our deck. A lot of decks don't. We are running the Radical Gunslinger. I love the art of this one. This is a 1-drop 0/1 Fanfare. We summon the Steed. Once again, the Steed is the one that can give something +1/+1, and then we can activate this card and and 2 mount cards on the field. So the Steed is a mount card, right? There are other mount cards as well, but this is a mount card as we can see. And then there's other ones like the Bullet Bike, for example. And you select an enemy leader follow on the field, and you shoot it for 2. Yeah, pretty good. For being a 1-drop, this is great. Gives you some value for not pumping, not immediately cashing in the steeds. We're also running 3 copies of the Rebellion Bandit. Once again, another 1-drop, 1-drop, 1/1, evos for 1. And when this game's attack or defense, give it Storm. So, a good way to give this attack or defense? Well, with one of those steeds, for example. And then the Evo version, we're just running a single copy. It's a 2/2. On evolve, select an enemy fall on the field, and if there are at least 2 mount cards on our field and or in our EX area, you deal it 2 damage. And then it still has that thing where it gains attack or defense, give it Storm. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. Pretty nice, efficient card. We're also running Tyrant's Order. This is another fantastic card to go get with Not. It's a 1-cost spell. Select up to 1 boxed enemy follower on our field, and you destroy it. We search our deck for a Wasteland follower, reveal it, and add it to our hand, then shuffle. So this is fantastic. A good play pattern with this is with Not. You can go grab your Tyrant's Order if you have an extra play point. Then you just jam this out after you've boxed up something. You kill it, and then you can go search for something like Not's Henchman, for example, who's Wasteland. But we have a lot of other Wasteland stuff too. We can go get like a Bunny and Baron or whatever we need. So this card's really, really strong. We're also running another Swordcraft staple with Leod, Crescent Blade. It's a 2-cost 1/3 evos for 2. While this card is rested, or while this card is reserved on our field, not rested, it has Intimidate and Aura. And at the start of our end phase, select an enemy follow on the field and deal it 1 damage. You just kind of like have him sit around, and he can't be attacked or messed with really. And then you just kind of like poke stuff. The Evo version also quite strong, 2/4. On evolve, you select an enemy leader or enemy follower on the field, and you deal it 2 damage, and then it still has the same effect. Leah is just kind of a pain. He just sits around, is just kind of a pain. We're also running the Outlaw Gunner, 2 cost 2/2. Fanfare, you summon a bullet bike, and then last words, you deal 2 damage to each enemy leader. Bullet bikes are great for this deck, and just shooting your opponent is also great. As you can see, we have a very aggressive deck. Speaking of which, we have Realmia Sonic Racer, which has been recently reprinted in Seaside Memories. 2 cost 3/2, Evos for 3, and the Evo costs 1 less for every other follower on our field. And we're going to have a lot of followers on the field. And when she Evos, she's a 4/3 with Storm, and we can pay an additional 3 to give this follower another +1/+1 for every other follower on our field. So this is a great way to kind of finish the game. Realmia is extremely good. Just a thing you can just jam in any sword deck is Celia into Realmia, and they just do tons and tons and tons of damage. We're also running a 1/of Vagabond Lizard. This is another Wasteland card. It's a 2 cost 2/2, and you can put a bullet bike onto your field or the EX area. And then last words, we put a Dutiful Steed into our EX area. So just a nice way to get some more of those mounts and all that kind of stuff. The bullet bike itself, we didn't really talk about. Bullet bike, 1 drop, you can bury it, select it on your field, and you give it Rush. And if it's a Wasteland follower, it gets +1 attack. So not quite the +1/+1 that the horse gives us, but we can also get Rush from it, which is like not too bad at all. We're also running the Wandering Chef, 2 cost 2/2. We can Evo him for 1, and on Fanfare, if there's a mount card on our field or in our EX area, we heal for 2. That's really good. And then the Evo version, we are running 1 Evo Chef, 3/3. On Evolve, look at the top 4 cards of our deck, and we can reveal a Wasteland card, not a follower, just any card, from among them, add them to our hand, and put the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order. Really, really good. Most of the cards in our deck are Wasteland. Even stuff like Tyrant's Order is Wasteland. All of the, bandits and all that kind of stuff are Wasteland. The couple cards that aren't are Nagi Hisakawa, we have Celia, we have Amelia, and Realmia. So basically all of like the more generic cards. And yeah, that's it for this deck. This deck is incredibly fast. If you want to play aggro right now in Shadowverse Evolve, this is one of the best decks to do so. And yeah, it's just fantastic. One of the best decks in the game currently. Now, let's move on to one of my favorite decks. And by that, I mean literally my favorite deck. We have a Necro Abyss deck, or Necro Charge Abyss deck. Now, I did a full video on this as well, but this deck got a lot more cards compared to the Swordcraft deck. We have new cards like Chris Beyond the Patch. We have Kagero. We have Gremory, Soul Strike, like a lot of them. Liberté, like a lot of new cards, which is really, really exciting. Basically, the idea of this deck is we want to fill our bin with a bunch of stuff so we can get really, really powerful Necro Charge effects. So let's start talking about it. So we have Chris Beyond the Patch. So this is a Fanfare. 4 cost 4/4 with Fanfare. Select an Abyss follower not named Chris Beyond the Patch that costs 5 or less in our cemetery. And if we have Necro Charge 10, we summon it and get Ward. Great. That's exactly what we want to do. We want to fill up our bin and then just bring it back. And this is just being a 4/4, getting out just a 5 drop or less is really, really good. We're running we're running 2 copies of Wretched Tryst. You select 2 Wasteland followers that cost 3 or less in our cemetery, and if we have Necro Charge 10, we summon them. You kind of see where we're going with this, right? So yeah, also very, very powerful. We have a lot of 3 or less cards that are really, really good for this. So we have like the Great Pit Corpse, we have the Wretch, we have a lot of really, really nice stuff for this. So this one just cares about Wasteland followers in particular. And we do have stuff that are surprisingly Wasteland, like Kagero is Wasteland, though Gremory is not. So we have to kind of pay attention to that for that card. We have Ilgano, Horror Astray, absolutely fantastic card for any Necro Charge deck. She's just a 1-drop 1/1, and on Fanfare, you select a Wasteland follower that costs 3 or less in your cemetery. If you have Necro Charge 10, you summon it, and if you do, banish this card. And then last words, put this card into its owner's EX area and bury the top card of your deck. So what you do is just jam this out as early as you can, and you just try to make efficient trades, and it'll die, and come back and bury the top card, and die and come back until you can get the Fanfare, get the Necro Charge, and summon a 3-drop, a Wasteland 3-drop. Once again, Wretch is a really, really good target for this. We'll talk about that. Same thing with this as well. We also have our Dead to Rights. This is a 1-drop quick spell. We can banish it and an Icy, a Shellendrig Gilded Autocrat from our cemetery, and then we select an enemy follower on the field and engage it. And then you just do that, like, you can just do that from your cemetery, which is really good. And then when you actually play the card, you select an enemy follower on the field and you give it -2/-2. Also just really good. Remember, this is permanent in Shadowverse Evolve. If you are coming into the game from other card games, the stat effects like this are permanent, which is really, really good. Next up, we're running Poltergeist, super simple card. It's a 1-drop with Quick, bury the top 2 cards of your deck. So this card by itself gives you Necro Charge 3, essentially, right? You bury the top 2 cards and itself, because you played it. Yeah, super good. We're also running Soul Conversion. I really like this card. I've been going back and forth between 3 Soul Conversions and Poltergeist. I like Soul Conversion, but we're going with 2 for this for now. So it's a 1-drop staple card for Abyss. Quick, select a follower on your field, you destroy it and draw 2 cards. So this only puts 2 Necro Charge, right? It kills one of your dudes and it puts itself, but it also draws 2 cards, which is really, really nice. Here's the Great Pit Corpse. This is another one that I've been considering running 3 of, and also I really love this promo art, and I picked up some for myself. It's super cute. Look at the little ghosty. It's a 3-cost 3/3. Fanfare, you bury another card, so any of your other cards. Select an enemy follower on their field and deal 4 damage. That's great. And then once per turn, when a 1-cost token card you control leaves the field, you summon a token of the same name. Really good, so you can kind of chain tokens together. And we have some tokens we'll talk about. We're also running, like I mentioned, Wretch. This card's fantastic in this deck. It's a 3-cost 3/2, Evos for 1. But you can only do that if this follower is put into a field from the cemetery. And once again, we already talked about 2 ways to do that. Well, actually, technically 3 ways if you want to target it with Crispy on the Patch. So lots of ways to bring the Wretch back. It also has Rush just by itself. And then on Last Words, we summon a Bullet Bike token, and we bury the top 2 cards of our deck. Now, the Bullet Bike token, as we mentioned in the Sword deck tech, it's a 1-cost amulet, which is really important for the Great Pit Corpse. We bury this, select follower on the field, give it Rush, and if it's a Wasteland follower, +1, which is just really, really good. What's even stronger is when we Evo this. So we always want to try to Evo our Wretch. So when we Evo, it becomes a 4/3 with Storm. And then on Evolve, we select an enemy follower on the field and deal 5 damage. And then it still has that summon a Bullet Bike and bury the top 2 cards on Last Words. Crazy good value. This card's really, really good. I would like an alternate art of this one too. Another new card, we have Gremory Death Teller. This is a fantastic way to get Necro Charge. She's a 2-cost 2/3 with Ward. And then on Fanfare, we bury the top 2 cards of your deck. Fantastic. And then we can pay 1, and we summon this from our cemetery, and we give it Last Words, banish this, activate this only if there are at least 10 cards in our cemetery, and there's no cards named Gremory Death Teller. So basically, if we have Necro Charge 10, we can just bring her back for 1, and then she just bears the next 2 cards. She's super, super good. And she's also very cute. Next up, we have another new card, Kagero Swordbound Soul. Another 2-cost 2/2, Necro Charge 10. It gets Rush and Bane. Really good for just killing stuff. And then on Fanfare, you choose one. You select a Soul Strike in your cemetery, and you put it in your EX area. And if you have Necro Charge 20, it costs 2 less to play, so it's a freebie. Or we just bury the top 2 cards of our deck. So a really common practice is you just play this on turn 2, bury the top 2 cards of your deck. It's really solid. Later, it can just jam in and just kill anything. Or we can actually get our Soul Strike. We're only running 1 copy. It's just a 2-cost Wasteland spell, Departed. Select an enemy follower on the field, and you deal 4 damage. And if you have Necro Charge 20, you also deal 4 damage to the enemy leader, which is pretty good. And you can kind of keep playing this, keep playing our 1 copy with Kagero, which is pretty cool. Like hitting this off of any of our mill cards, like Kagero or Gremory, is actually like a pretty good thing because we could just get it back and play it with Kagero because we want it in the cemetery. We're also running the new Liberté Unchained Wolf. She's a 2-cost 2/2. Fanfare, bury another follower. This card's Evo costs 1 less to play this turn. That can come up here and there. And then the Evo is normally 2. When you Evo her, she's a 3/3. On Evolve, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 3 damage. Then, if a follower is put from your field to the cemetery this turn, deal 4 damage instead and draw a card. So it gives you even more incentive to actually do that cost reduction effect by like sacking a dude, and then you can get 4 damage and you get a draw card, so it replaces it. Yeah, really good. We're running Icy, of course. He is incredibly powerful. is a 5-cost 5/5 evos for 1. Fanfare, if there's no magic train on the field, you get 1. And then whenever he becomes engaged, each opponent discards a card. It's really good. And then the train is also really good. So we just get this. Normally it's a 5-cost, but we just get it. And it says we can pay 1 and use its effect. And then any number of followers that cost a total of 5 or more on your field, maneuver this card. So we can do Icy, for example, which will then force our opponent to discard a card because Icy became engaged. This also has Rush, and then on Strike, you select an enemy from the field and destroy it, and we heal 2. This card's really good as well. So Icy just gives us tons and tons of value. Absolutely fantastic. We also running 2 of Odile Black Swan. It's a 5-drop 6/4 all the way back from set 3. On Fanfare, we deal 2 damage to the enemy leader and each enemy follower. And then it also has Necro Charge 20, it gets Storm. It's a really, really nice Storm payoff. And then on Strike, we deal 2 damage to each enemy leader and each enemy follower. So on Necro Charge 20, this hits our opponent for 10, right? It hits us for 6, and then 2, and then 2. And then it also does 2 and 2 to their board. So she's really good. She's a great finisher. We're also running 2 copies of Milteo, 5-cost 4/4. Fanfare, we discard a card and we reveal top cards of our deck until we hit 2 followers that cost 3 or less. We already talked about 3 or less followers, but we have a lot of them in this deck, actually. And then we summon them. So we just get 2 3-cost or less from the top of our deck. Put the rest on the bottom, shuffle the rest of the cards, put on the bottom of the deck. And at the start of our end phase, we Necro Charge 20 and evolve Milteo. And so we're just running a single copy of the Evolve Milteo. Once you evolve him, 6/6. On evolve, you can pay 2 and then destroy each enemy fall on the field and then change each enemy leader's defense to 6. Also a really, really nice win con. Milteo with Necro Charge 20 into an Odile the next turn is basically game. And then we have another one of my favorite cards. I'm a big fan of Tartarus here. It's a 10 cost, but not really. 10 cost 7/7. Costs 5 less to play if there are at least 15 departed cards in our cemetery. Now, we haven't been really pointing out departed cards, but we actually have a good chunk of departed cards in the deck. So we have like Icy here. We have Kagero. I think Soul Strike is departed. Wretch. Great pick. Soul Conversion. Poltergeist. Dead to Rights. Like, once again, a lot of these are departed. So yeah, that's not like the hardest thing to do to make him cost 5. We can also evolve him for 1. Or we can also pay 1, put this card from our hand into the EX area, look at the top 2 cards of our deck, and we can reveal a departed card from among them, add to our hand, bury the rest. Super good. What do we get when we actually evolve him? Well, some good stuff. So when we evolve him, he becomes an 8/8, and on evolve, we select a departed follower in our cemetery, and we summon it. My previous version of this deck, I ran Ektar, because Ektar was departed. This one, we can still get some pretty nice stuff. Like, we can get a Chris Beyond the Patch, which then can get any other 5-drop, right? So just getting Tartarus into Chris gets us like a full board, which is pretty sweet. Especially if we can get Tartarus into Chris into Wretch. That's some good stuff. So yeah, this is my favorite deck right now. Did I not talk about the Evo Icy? I don't think I talked about the Evo. I think I skipped over the Evo Icy. So Icy, when he Evos, you discard a card and you select 2 followers in your cemetery and you add them to your hand, so you can kind of get followers back. And then he still does the thing whenever he becomes engaged, each opponent discards a card. And also during our turn, whenever a player discards a card, select an enemy fall on the field and you engage it. Yeah, Icy's it's just crazy good. I kind of skipped over the Evo part, which is like, yeah, the Magic Train rules, but he also just does more. He's so good. Yeah, this is my favorite deck right now, and this is the first deck that I built in paper for this particular meta. The other one's Rune that we'll talk about shortly. Now let's talk about Forest. Now this is another really, really powerful deck that you'll see a lot. This is the new Natura Forest with a lot of new cards from the set. We have new stuff like the Changewing Cherub. We have obviously Sekka. This is one that any Forest player is going to want a lot of copies of. We have the new Nature All Mechanus, which is another crazy card from the set. And yeah, we're running some old favorites like Latica. So let's talk about it. So we have Send and Packing. This is the old Latica favorite. It's a 0-cost spell. You select a Latica on your field and give it +1/+1, and then you have Combo. You deal damage equal to its attack to each enemy falling in the field. Kind of one-sided board wipe, and we're going to be doing a lot of combo shenanigans because this is a Natura deck. So we're going to be doing a lot of Natura tree stuff, right? The Nataran Great Tree. We have the Cherub, the Changewing Cherub. This is a 1-drop 1/1, Evos for 1. We can put a Repair Mode or a Nataran Great Tree onto the field. So a Repair Mode is just a spell that heals for 1. Or put it into the EX area, I'm sorry, not on the field. Repair Mode is just a 1-drop that heals for 1-drop spell. And then the Tree is an amulet that you can pay 1 and sack it. And when it leaves the field, you draw a card and discard a card. So it's one of those things where you can just play a bunch of them from your EX area and you sack all them and draw a card and discard a card. Helps get our combo up. We're also running the Colorful Cook. Hey, you like the trees? Here's more tree stuff. So this is a 1-drop 1/2. Fanfare, put a tree in on the token, or put a tree token onto our field or the EX area, and we heal for 1. And then the last ones, we discard a tree and we draw a card. Yeah, this just is a staple for the tree deck. We have Forest Hermit. Well, once again, we have a lot of cards that we saw from the previous the tree deck, but you know, a lot of new cards too, which is great to see like an archetype like this come back and be very strong. So the Hermit's a one. Wait, I did not talk about the Evo version of the Cherub. I just kept going. We are running 2 copies of the Evo Cherub. When you Evo the Cherub, it's a 2/2, and you select every on the field. And if there's at least 5 Machina or Natura cards, or Natura cards on our field and/or in our EX area, you deal it 2 damage. So it's pretty good. It's actually not too hard to get that effect. And we are running 2 copies in here. And then I realized that because I was like, oh yeah, we didn't talk about the Forest Hermit evolving either. So we are running the Evo Forest Hermit 2/2. On evolve, select a Natura card in our cemetery and add to our hand. Extremely powerful. We have a lot of Natura cards in the deck. Not all of them, but most of the cards are Natura. So the Hermit's just really, really good. Gives us a tree, and we can get any Natura card back as well. This is the Forest, for the most part in Shadowverse Evolve, and especially too for this deck, is a really like high combo centric deck, both in terms of like the combo mechanic, but also in terms of like combining cards together. All right, anyway, let's talk about the new Sekka. Now, this card's really good and one of the key cards in this new archetype, well, returning archetype. She's a 1-drop 1/1, and then on Fanfare, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can reveal a forest card that costs 2 or less from among them and add it to our hand. That's fantastic. Put the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order. If you revealed a card, discard a card. So it's like draw 1, discard 1, sort of. You can pay 3 and banish this card and 2 other cards from our cemetery. You can summon a Sekka 9-fold Blaze from our Evolve deck. So what does Sekka 9-fold Blaze do? That one has a cost of 3 here. She's a 3/3. Fanfare, choose 1. Search our deck for a Resolve of the Nine-Tailed Fox, reveal it and put it into our hand, then shuffle. Or we select a Resolve of the Nine-Tailed Fox from our cemetery and add it to our hand. So it just gets us this Resolve of the Nine-Tailed Fox. Well, what does that do? So the Resolve of the Nine-Tailed Fox is a 1-cost spell, Wasteland Hunter Beast. You can choose up to 2. Select a Sekka 9-fold Blaze on our field. That's the Evoed one. And if there are at least 9 cards in our banish zone, you give it +2/+2 and Storm, the Great Wind Con. Or we can select a follower with Sekka in its name on our field, and an enemy follower on the field. Give the first follower +2/+2 and deal the second follower damage equal to the first attack. So you can actually kind of like do a thing where you play multiple copies of Resolve of the Nine-Tailed Fox, and then just pump up Sekka, do a crap load of damage to our opponent, and we just storm them, which is pretty good, especially from cards that let you get stuff back. We're also running the Spring Leaf Sprite, so a single copy of this. It's a 1-drop 2/2, or 1-drop 1/2. I'm sorry. And then on Fanfare, you put a tree in your EX area, and then when this card leaves, put a tree in your EX area. It's not too bad. Double tree action. We're also running the new Intertwined Resolve, 1-cost spell. Choose 1, put a Natura card from our field into its owner's EX area, select any fall on the field, and deal it 3 damage, or we summon 2 fairy tokens. Yeah, putting a Natura card from our field into the EX area so we can play it again is pretty strong, especially when we're doing like combo shenanigans. We're also running another new card, Traveler's Respite. It's It's a 1-cost spell. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You can reveal a Wasteland or Natura card from among them, add it to your hand, put the rest on the bottom. If there's a Wasteland card on our field or in our EX area, we heal 1. Great. Once again, all these cards, these are all one drops, right? You're just like playing a bunch of them in a turn, doing a lot of combo stuff. We have the Desert Pathfinder, another returning Naturan staple. You can put a tree token on our field or the EX area, and if we have at least 5 Natura cards on our field and or in our EX area, we look at the top 3 cards of our deck. We can reveal a Natura card, put it in our hand, put the rest on the bottom. So just another good way to get more Natura stuff. We got the big tree. Tree's a 2-drop 2/3. Put a tree in our EX area, and then or put a Naturan tree in our EX area. We don't put this tree in the EX area. And then we can also banish a Naturan Great Tree from our field, give our leader +3. You can only do this once per turn. But remember, when the tree leaves the field, we draw a card and discard a card when the Naturan Great Tree. So it's fantastic. This eats the trees, we heal, draw and discard. Trail of Light. Hey, look, in a deck that wants to discard a lot of cards, this card's really good. It's a 2-cost, but we almost never play it for that. It says when this card is discarded, you draw a card. Also, you can pay the 2 costs to draw a card normally. But yeah, you discard this to our trees and any other effects that care about discarding, draw a card. Next up, we have one of our big finishers, Latika the Stoneclaw. She's a 4-cost, 5/5, great stats. Evos for 1, and you can only activate that if we played at least 5 cards this turn. Hey, guess what? That's what all this is doing. We're playing lots of cards. And whenever a Naturan Great Tree is put into our field, we recover 1 play point. So you want to like chain the trees together so you can then jam Latika out and then Evo her. Well, what do we get when we actually get an Evo Latika? Well, she becomes a 6/6 with Storm, and whenever a Naturan Great Tree is put on our field, we recover a play point. So, as you saw, this is kind of what we're doing with this deck. We're playing Latika, lots of trees, and then we're doing stuff with Sekka, storm out our opponent with big hits, and we can also pump up Latika just to wipe our opponent's board, which is also really good. Making the Evo version a 7/7 with Storm and then wiping your opponent's board is pretty good. We're also running some more stuff. So this is another new card, like I mentioned. When this card is discarded, which is a great effect to have in a deck that really wants to discard a lot of stuff, you can turn a tree sideways on our field, and we select a natural card not named this in our cemetery, and we add it to our hand, which is great. So we discard this, you floop a tree, and then you get another one of these back. It's kind of like a Trail of Light, sort of, but you know, more specific. On Fanfare, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can reveal a Machina card from among them and add it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order. Put a Repair Mode token into the EX area. Recover 3 play points. We do have some incidental Machina cards. As I mentioned before, this Cherub is actually a Machina card. It's a Machina Natura Angel. So you can do that with that, or you can do that with other copies of this. But yeah, this card's really, really good in this deck. We're also running 2 copies of the new Spinaria. So Spinaria, Keeper of the End, 5-cost 3/3, and we can use her effect and banish 2 cards from a cemetery to summon a Keen Edge artifact and a Mystic artifact token. The Keen Edge artifact is a 3/4 with Rush and Drain, and the Mystic token is a 2/3 with Ward and Fanfare draw card. So this is really powerful. We get a 3/4, Rush, Drain, 2/3 draw card. Yeah, quite good. And then finally, we have the Primal Giant, a 9-cost 7/7. When this card is discarded, once again, we're discarding a lot of cards, put a tree token into your EX area. When playing this card, you can bury 4 natural cards, and this card costs 4 less to play. So this can be a 5-drop if you yeet 4 natural cards, which could be trees. And then on Fanfare, you select a Forest Follower that costs 5 or less on our cemetery, and summon it. Hey, guess what? Like Latika or Spinaria. So yeah, this is another big top end card. This is one of my favorite versions of Forest to date. I think there's a lot of really interesting play here, and I think it's also like pretty fun in what I've played so far of it. Lots of just kind of, like I said, just like flopping the trees back and forth, and it's always great to get a big Latika turn. So yeah, this deck is sweet, and this is one that you'll see a lot. This is going to be a very popular deck, I imagine, and it's a very strong deck too. Next up, we have Dragon. Now, this is the Draconic Duelist returning because, hey, we have some really, really sweet Draconic Duelist cards like Drak, Fiery Dragon Lord. So yeah, let's talk about this. We saw some cards a few sets ago, like the Romelia back in set 9. In fact, I do believe we saw some of these decks actually make an appearance at Worlds this year, which is really, really cool to see. But now we have a new take on it, and the new take is quite strong too. So let's talk about it. First up, we have Anaros, not a Draconic Duelist card, but she's pretty good for the deck. 2 cost 2/2, Evos for 1. Fanfare, if we have Overflow, we look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and we can reveal a Dragon Newt card from among them, add it to our hand, put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. So she might not be a Draconic Duelist, but she is a Dragon Newt, and we do have actually a, if I remember right, we have a lot of good. Well, actually, Forte is not a Dragon Newt, but we do have a lot of other Dragon Newts. We're running a new Forte, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, when Anaros evolves, we select an enemy fall on the field and deal 2 damage. That's great. She also got reprint recently. Wasn't like an expensive card, but if you want the swimsuit version of her, hey, that also exists now. We have the Earthen Dragon Newt next. Hey, look, here's a Dragon Newt card. 2 cost 2/2. Fanfare, look at top card of our deck. If it's a Draconic Duelist card, you can reveal it and add it to our hand. If Overflow is active for you, heal 2. That's pretty good. Or heal our leader for 2. So we're running a lot of Draconic Duelist cards. This helps with that. We're also running Katakura Kojiro. 2 cost 2/2. This is a Draconic Duelist. Evos for 1. Fanfare, we select another Draconic Duelist to follow on our field. And if Overflow is active for us, give it +1/+1. And the Evo version is a 3/3, and on Evolve, we look at the top 4 of our deck, and we can put a Draconic Duelist card from among them into our hand. So once again, just ways to get our powerful Draconic Duelist cards, which is really, really good. We're also running Masamune Raging Dragon, which happens to be a Draconic Duelist. 2 cost 2/2 with Bane, and if there's at least 3 Draconic Duelist cards on our field, he also gets +2/+2 and Storm, which is quite strong. Play a bunch of Draconic Duelist stuff, just jam it out. 4/4 Storm for 2 is really good. All right, let's talk about some new cards. So actually, let's talk about Drock first. So Drock is a 4-drop 4/3. Evos for 4, has Rush, and on Fanfare, the next Draconic Duelist card we play this turn costs 3 less, which, as we've seen, is quite good. And we also have this card, which is also a Draconic Duelist card that costs 2, which would be free. So what does he do when we Evo him? Because he Evos for 4, so the effect must be good, right? Well, it's pretty good. He becomes a 6/5 with Assail, and on Evolve, we select a Draconic Duelist card, our follower, that costs X or less in our cemetery, and we summon it, where X equals this follower's attack. So we can just jam out anything that is that costs 6 or less, or if we pump this by other effects, we can get some bigger stuff back. I do believe that's going to get back basically everything in our deck, which is really good. And then now we have the Howling Conflagration. This is the 2 cost. You can play this card for 3 more play points if we want to. We select an enemy fall on the field and we deal it 3 damage. And if we played this card for 3 more play points, search our deck for Drock, summon it, give it a sail, then shuffle. That's pretty good. So for 5, we blast something for 3, and then we go and grab Drock and we just summon it, and then it has a sail and Rush, and then the next Draconic Duelist thing we play costs 3 less. So like this on 5 just chains stuff. Super powerful. Next up, we have the Flame Pillar Dragon, another one of the new cards. 4-drop 3/3, Evos for 1, and then select an enemy from the field, and if Overflow is active, deal 4 damage. Hey, looks pretty good. And then it Evos and becomes a 4/4. On Evolves, search our deck for Draconic Duelist follower, costs 3 or less, then you summon it and shuffle. This deck is kind of cracked. Everything just synergizes so well, puts more things into play, does damage, searches for things. It's good. We're also running a Gargoyle. 4 cost 4/5, Rush Ward. If there's at least 3 other Draconic Duelist cards on the field, draw 2 cards. Pretty good. We're only running a 1-of copy of this card. It's a decent one, and yeah, I think it's a fairly solid card. We're also running 2 copies of Georgius, a 4 cost 4/4, Evos for 2, and then select enemy on the field on Fanfare. If we have Overflow, deal 2 damage, and the leader 2 damage, which is pretty good. And then when they evolve, they become a 5/5. On evolve, destroy each enemy follower with 3 defense or less on the field. I played against this deck a couple times, and I hate this card for a lot of the decks that I play. This just kills, if you're playing Sword, for example, this just nukes your board. It can be pretty scary. We're also running the super cute Hypersonic Dragon Newt, 1-drop, 2/1, good stats. Well, there's another Draconic Duelist on your field. This gets Rush and Assail, pretty solid. And then on Fanfare, if you play an additional 1 and you have Overflow, you search your deck for a Hypersonic Dragon Newt and summon it. So you can just kind of like get more. And if you keep doing that, you can just keep getting more. And they're all Draconic Duelists. So, you know, getting these getting more is pretty good for, you know, Draconic Duelists that care about having other Draconic Duelists on the field. We're also running, you know, Dragon Staple, Dragon Nest. You probably already know what this is. The 1-drop, you can use it, and then put it into the cemetery, give our leader +2, and then draw a card if we have Overflow. Yeah, pretty good. Here's our big new card. We have the new 10-drop Forte Sovereign Supreme. She's a 5/9. Each dragon on our field has Storm and Drain, and at the start of our end phase, select up to 2 enemy falls on the field. During their controller's next turn, they can't attack enemies. And then for 0, we just summon a dragon token, and dragon tokens are just the 5/5 tokens. And you activate this only once per turn, but she just spits out 5/5s. She's crazy. This card's quite good, but once again, she is a little expensive. But yeah, she can also just lock stuff down. She's very good. We're also running the Pure Voiced Dragoon, so a 5-drop 3/4. Search our deck for a Draconic Duelist card that costs 4 or less. We summon it, shuffle our deck. If Overflow is active for you, give our leader +3. We can go grab the Gargouille, which is really, really good. And if, you know, we have at least 3 others, we can draw 2 cards. We can go get this dude, which once again is one of those cards that kind of chains things for us into getting more dudes and dealing damage. So this is kind of like a great starter to like getting a bunch of other stuff. We have one of the powerful ways to end the game here. We have the Remelia Lightning Striker. She's a 3-cost 1/3, evos for 1. She has Bane, and if there's an Aftershock on our field, we place a lightning counter on each Aftershock on our field. If not, you summon one. So basically, you get an Aftershock, and we just keep putting lightning counters on the Aftershock token. We'll talk about that in just a second. When we evolve her, she has Assail and Bane, and on evolve, you select an enemy fall on the field, and if there's an amulet on our field, you know, like the Aftershock token, you deal it 3 damage. And then on Last Words, if there's an Aftershock on our field, place a lightning counter on each Aftershock on the field. If not, you summon one. And then here is an Aftershock token. So an Aftershock token is an amulet, like I said. Whenever a Draconic Duelist follower is put onto our field, you place another lightning counter on this, and you can use it, select a Dragoncraft follower on our field, and you give it +2 attack. You can only activate this if you have at least 5 lightning counters, or you can activate it, select a follower on or an enemy follower on the field, you destroy it and deal 3 damage to its leader, and you can activate this only if it has at least 10 lightning counters on it. And it doesn't remove the lightning counters, so you can just keep doing this. Once you mass this up, you can just start blasting your opponent's stuff like every turn. It's very powerful, and one of the reasons why the Draconic Duelist deck does really, really well. Remelia is quite strong. Yeah, she's very good. And then finally, we have Roy Dragon Reaver, the new Roy. 3-cost 3/3. While there's an amulet on our field, you know, like the lightning or like the Aftershock. So while there's an amulet on our field, this follower has Rush. And then on Fanfare, if we have at least 3 Draconic Duelist cards on the field, we increase our max play points by 1. So this is our ramp in the deck. We ramp, and we also get like a powerful, we get like a dude, we get 3/3, which is just, you know, really, really powerful. So yeah, this deck is sweet. This deck just really, really gels together. And like everything just kind of like gets more things and, you know, searches and puts stuff into play. It's a really fun and powerful deck, and one of the best options, maybe the best option, if you want to run Dragoncraft for this particular season. Next up, we have one of my absolute favorite decks to play right now. This is the other deck that I immediately went and built in paper. This is the new Academic Rune deck. Now, for Runecraft, I feel like there's like kind of 2 options you can kind of go right now. There's the academic side, and then there's like the mage deck. I personally like the academic side, but I think the mage deck is also pretty cool. I really like the academic side just because I've been waiting for this deck to be like good, and I think it's finally like pretty good. So let's talk about the new Anne Mysterian Imperatrix. So she's a 2-cost 2/2. On Fanfare, we discard an academic card and draw a card. Spoilers, almost everything in the deck is academic. If there are at least 5 academic cards in our cemetery, put an Anne's summoning token into her EX area. Anne's summoning token is kind of wild. And then we can activate her, and then we can play a Rending Blast from our Evolve deck. Activate if there's only 15 academic cards in our cemetery. So we'll get the Anne summoning in just a minute, but let me show you the Rending Blast. So this lets you play this from our Evo deck. It's an advanced card. Interesting. It's like one of the few like spell cards you can put in your Evo deck. So Rending Blast is a 3-cost spell that just says deal 8 damage to each enemy leader. It's pretty good. Just doming everyone for 8. Well, all the enemies for 8. Yeah, this is sweet, and the art on this is really cool too. And also, let's take a look at the Anne's Summoning. So Anne's Summoning, it's a 2-cost 4/4 follower token. It's a Golem Arcaniform Academic with Rush and Ward. On Fanfare, we heal 2, and at the start of our end phase, we banish it. So it kind of sticks around for a little bit and then goes away. That's kind of a common thing of like what Anne does in both Shadowverse Evolve and in like Shadowverse like digital versions. So Anne's really good. She's kind of just a powerhouse in a 2-drop, which is quite good. We're also running Craig, just Craig. He's a 2/1, Evos for 1, draw a card, discard a card on Fanfare. The Evo for Craig is draw a card and discard a card. He's a 3/2. Yeah, he's a solid card. We're also running the new Greya. This is Greya Scorched Fury, another 2-cost 2/2. Fanfare, we discard an academic card and draw a card. Then, if there are at least 5 academic cards in our cemetery, we put a Resentful Blaze token into our EX area, and then we can use her effect and select enemy fall on the field and deal it 1 damage. That's pretty good. So let's check out what the Resentful Blaze is. So here is the Resentful Blaze. It's a 1-cost spell. Choose 1, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 4 damage, or select 2 enemy followers on the field, and if there's at least 15 academic cards in our cemetery, deal them 4 damage. So yeah, quite good. 1-drop, blast something for 4, or potentially blast 2 things for 4. Yeah, I really like just the efficiency of these academic cards and how well they work all well together. We're also running the Mysterian Wormmist, 2-cost 2/2. You can Evo him for 2, and then evolve this follower into a Mysterian White Worm or a Black Worm. Activate this only if there's at least 5 academic cards in our cemetery. Fanfare, you can discard an academic card. If you do, draw a card. If you don't, bury this card. So you really need to do the academic stuff with this card, and let's go ahead and check out the Evo version. This is another one of the double-sided cards. So the White Worm is a 5/5 with Ward, and then on Evolve, you heal 3. Pretty good. 5/5 with Ward that heals 3. And the Black Worm is a 5/5 with a Sail that deals 3 to each enemy leader. Absolutely fantastic, and basically does exactly what you would like. Getting the Assail on Evo is really good, so it makes it you can attack into almost anything. So yeah, pretty good effect. Once again, only on a 2-drop. We're also running Owen. I love how they just have like just generic names. It's like, I'm Craig, I'm Anne, I'm Owen. And then there's like Greya, which she has a more fantasy name. Anyway, Owen is a 2-drop 3/2. He has Rush, and then on Fanfare, if there's at least 5 academic cards in our cemetery, he gets +1/+1 and a Sail, which is pretty sweet. And then on Strike, we put a Mysterian Missile token into our EX area. This, of course, is the Mysterian Missile token. It's a 2-cost spell. Select an enemy fall on the field and deal it 3 damage. And if there's at least 10 academic cards in our cemetery, deal 2 damage to the leader. Once again, really great. A lot of tokens and all that kind of generating stuff with this deck. We're also running Tycho Mysterian Spell Nerd. I love this card. I think she's super cute. 2-drop 2/3 with Ward. I love how she's a spell nerd. On Last Words, look at top card of your deck. If it's an academic card, we can reveal it and add it to our hand. Once again, the deck's basically all academic cards, so yeah, that's very good. We're also running the older version of Anne. This is the 6-drop 5/5 Fanfare. We choose one of the following. If there's at least 10 academic cards in our cemetery, we choose up to 2 instead. We can search our deck for an Anne's Sorcery, we'll talk about that in a moment, and put it into our EX area, then shuffle our deck. The next Anne's Sorcery we play this turn costs 5 less, it's very good. Or we search our deck for a Greya Mysterian Dragoness, summon it, then shuffle our deck. Spoilers, we're gonna go get the sorcery. We do have we do have Greya, so we could get Greya too. But getting the sorcery is quite good. So getting the sorcery and playing for free, well, what does that do? So the sorcery is a 5 cost. Choose one of the following. We select an enemy leader or enemy fall on the field and deal it 4 damage and draw a card. Really good. And then for an additional 3, or for an additional 3, I should say, select an enemy leader or enemy fall on the field. And if there are 10 academic cards in our cemetery, deal it 8 damage and draw 2 cards. And really likes dealing 8 damage. So this one would just cost 3 off of Anne, right? So that's like a 9 play point total kind of play. Or we could go get Greya, the Mysterian Dragoness. This is a good option as well. So Greya is a 3-drop, 3/3. Evos for 1. On Fanfare, you select an enemy fall on the field. And if there's at least 10 academic cards in our cemetery, we deal 4 damage to it and 1 to the leader. And then we can Evo. And when you Evo her, she becomes a 4/4. On Evolve, search your deck for a Greya's Ember. Put it to your EX area, then shuffle our deck. The next Greya's Ember you play this turn costs 1 less. While this card's on our field, if the academic spell you control deal damage, it deals that much +1, which is a pretty good effect, especially when you're dealing like a ton of damage, like with Anne. And so let's go see what the Greya's Ember is. Here's the Greya's Ember. Greya's Ember is fantastic, by the way. It's a 1-drop quick speed spell. You select an enemy fall on the field and deal it 2 damage. And then if there's at least 5 academic cards in our cemetery, deal 3 damage instead. Super good. This is kind of like a academic version of Angelic Sniper or something like that. Really, really good card for the deck. So you could go get a Greya and then do some stuff. If you have additional play points, you can go get Greya and then Evo Greya and then get this. And kind of, once again, this is another one of those decks where the things just kind of like snowball and chain, which is good. This is one of our only, if not the only non-academic card in the deck. This is Edict of Truth. We're just running a single copy of this. It's a 5-drop spell. It's Omen Mage. This one says, when a Rao is put onto our field, banish this card from a cemetery and gain an Evo point. We are not running Rao. We're just running it for the cost here. So it's a 5-drop. Look at the top 5 of our deck. You can put up to 2 cards that cost 3 or less from among them into our EX area. They both cost 3 less to play this turn. Put the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order. So we basically get 2 cards and we can play them immediately for free if they're 3 or lesses, which is really, really good because we have stuff like Mysteria, we have Greya, we have all of these other 2-drops like the new Anne and the new Greya. So this is actually quite good in our deck. And so, well, I already mentioned Mysteria. Hey, look, here's Mysteria. So we finally have a home for Mysteria where I think she's good. 3-drop, 2/4, Evos for 1. Fanfare, reveal an academic follower from our hand. Select an enemy fall on the field and deal it 2 damage. While this is on our field, any academic follower we play costs 1 less. So she kind of turbos out all of the other academic stuff. And then when we Evo her, becomes a 3/5. On Evolve, select an enemy fall on the field and deal it 3 damage. While this card is on the field, any academic follower costs 1 less. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, this is I really enjoy this deck. And then we also have this old man. We have Mr. Bertrand, who's 0, by the way. Costs 0 to play if you have Mysteria out, but he normally costs 1. Fanfare, choose one of the following. Put a Mysterian Missile token into our EX area, and I do believe we've already showcased the Mysterian Missile token. Or we select an academic spell from our cemetery, and if there's at least 5 academic cards in our cemetery, add it to our hand. This guy can be kind of crazy because this is an academic spell. So if we blast our opponent for 8, we can do it again. Like, we can get this back from our cemetery because this is a Mage Academic Princess Cutthroat spell. So we can actually like select the academic spell from our cemetery, and if there's at least 5 academic cards, we get that back. So this is a way we can get that big blast back, which is pretty sweet. We're also running Mysterian Knowledge. This is a 1-drop. As initial cost to play this card, reveal 2 academic cards from your hand. Pretty easy when the whole deck, except for the Edict of Truth, is academic. And then we draw a card and put a missile token into our EX area. Once again, it's the 2-drop that blasts something for 3 and deal 2 to the leader if we have enough academic cards in the cemetery. We're also running a 1 of Saphira Synthetic Beast. I think she's actually really cool in this deck. And if you have the sweet promo version of her, hey, this is a good place to run it. She's a 4-drop, 2/6 with Rush. Well, you're not going to be really playing her for this. You're going to be playing her as a 9-drop with Storm, because you can pay an additional 5 to give her Storm. And then on Fanfare, she gets plus X attack, where X equals the number of Rune followers in our cemetery. And if you didn't notice, it's like all Rune followers for the most part, with a couple exceptions. We have Anne Sorcery, Edict, a couple of these other cards. Most of these are followers that give us spell tokens and that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is a great finisher. Just jam her out and she can just end the game. And then finally, we have the Humble Veil Mysterian Summoner. She's a 4-drop 2/2, which seems bad, except she evos for 1. Well, what do we get when we evo her? Well, she becomes a 3/3, and then on evolve, look at the top 5 cards of our deck, and then we can put up to 2 academic cards that cost 2 or less from among them into her EX area, and they cost 2 less to play this turn, and you put the rest on the bottom. We already went through a ton of very powerful 2-drops that we can get from this. So, I mean, obviously, we would like to get Anne and Greya, but there's a ton of 2-drops we can get from this Evo. So, she doesn't look all that strong, but a 3/3 that gets us like 2 of our best cards and puts them directly into play is very, very good. So, yeah, this is the new Academic Rune deck. I love this deck. By the way, once again, all the deck codes are at the top, but yeah, this deck is super sweet, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And the final deck today is a Control Haven or an Amulet Haven deck that uses the new Jean. Well, it runs a lot of Jeans. This is a Jean heavy deck. This is another deck that uses a lot of cards from the new combined set. So yeah, let's talk about it. We're running a 3 of Alice Golden Afternoon. This is from the Seaside Memories. It's pretty interesting in this deck. So she's a 2-cost, 2/3 fanfare draw card, and then also you select an enemy follower on the field that costs 4 or less, and then if this card wasn't put onto the field from hand, put the selected follower into the owner's EX area. Now we have some ways to play Alice not from hand, and so we can kind of get that off. And if we don't, she's still like a 2/3 that draws a card, but we can actually activate this effect, which is pretty sweet. We're also running the new Dark Jean Despair's Maiden, 2-drop 3/2. Evos for 5, and also fanfare deals 2 damage to our leader, and then we select an enemy follower that costs 2 or less, and you destroy it, which is really, really powerful. And then on the Evo, the 5 Evo, she gets crazy. She becomes a 6/5, and she deals 3 damage to each enemy leader and each enemy follower, and then we heal 3. So she's very strong. 3 damage to all of our opponent's stuff, and we heal 3. Nice payoff, and also still really good early on. Next up, we have the Lunarian Paladin, 2-drop 1/1 with Ward, and then we evo for 1. Well, what does the Paladin do when we evo? Well, we're running a 3 of. On evolve, look at the top 4 cards of our deck. Then we can put a follower that costs 2 or less, like Alice, from among them. We summon it. So we summon the 2-drop. And then put the rest on the bottom of our deck in any order. If you summon a follower with Ward, give our leader +2. So this is one of the ways that we can get Alice, and then we'll get this effect. So we'll draw a card, and then we can yeet something back to the owner's EX area, which is really, really good. We can also put stuff like Jean, or there's a bunch of other cards that fit this criteria. So it's very good. Notably, this card, it's just any follower that costs 2 or less. Some of the other cards care about it being Haven, where like Alice is not Haven, obviously. So we'll keep that in mind as we go. Next up, we have this Revolver Eagle, 2-drop 2/1 with Storm, very strong. Fanfare, put a Bullet Bike into our EX area. And we kind of talked about the Bullet Bikes a lot earlier, but the Bullet Bike is just an amulet that costs 1, and then you can bury it, and you give one of your followers Rush, and if it's a Wasteland follower, it gets +1 attack. We don't run a ton of Wasteland followers, but it can come up. And then the Eagle you can pay 6 and give him +4/+4. So you can pay 8 total if you want, right on the turn it comes into play. And you can just jam in for 6 Storm, which is actually not bad. I like the Eagle. I think the Eagle's like super versatile. It's also a Wasteland follower too. Next up, we have Rolla, Inferno Dragoon. Really, really cool new card. 2-drop 2/2, evos for 2. Fanfare, you put a repair mode in your EX area. If this card was put into the field by an ability, evolve it. Once again, we have the Paladin to help with that. All right, well, so the repair mode is just it's a spell that heals for 1. It's a Machina spell that heals for 1, so it goes in our EX area. Costs 1, heals for 1. So what does Rolla do when we evo her? Well, she becomes a 3/3, and on evolve, you choose 1. You select an enemy follower on the field, and you deal it damage equal to the number of Machina followers on our field. Or you give her Storm, which is pretty sweet. We don't have a ton of Machina followers on the field, but just getting a free evoed Storm is quite good. So yeah, I like Rolla a lot. Next up, we have Sekhmet. This is another card that got a reprint version in in the Seaside Memories. So she's a 2-drop 2/3. You can use her and bury an amulet. Use her effect and bury an amulet. Select an enemy fall on the field and deal 4 damage and deal 1 to its leader. So we have a lot of ways to just put amulets out, and then we want to, like, you know, sacrifice them or use them. The Revolver Eagle, actually putting the Bullet Bike is a good way to use the Bullet Bike to sack it to an effect like Sekhmet. We also have Morie Encomium. Morie Encomium. It's a 2-drop fanfare draw card. Select an enemy follower with 3 or less defense and destroy it on last word. So this is a sweet amulet that you want to destroy, right? You actively want to do the last words on that. So you can do like Sekhmet to get a nice little wombo combo there. Here's another new card, the Sheraton Ice Flame Priest, 5-drop 4/4. Fanfare, you bury an amulet, select an enemy fall on the field, deal it 4 damage, and recover 4 play points. Yo, that's pretty sweet. Once on each of your turns, when an amulet you control leaves the field, deal 1 damage to each enemy leader. This guy, super, like, works super well for this deck and all these amulets. By the way, we have a ton of cards down here that are just like 1-cost amulets that want us to destroy them. We're also running the Colorful Cook, specifically because we get an amulet that does something when it dies. We don't really care much about the Great Tree, the Natura and Great Tree synergy, but we do care about that she just spits out amulets, right? So she's a 1-cost 1/2. Fanfare, you can put a Great Tree token into our field or EX area, and then heal for 1. And then last words, discard a Natura card and draw a card. Yeah, once again, the trees are tokens that when they leave the field, you draw a card and discard a card, and then you can pay 1 to bury them. But we have all these effects that actually want us to use them to, you know, for their effects too. Next up, we have another amulet. This is Meowsker's Ambush. That's a 1-cost fanfare. Put the top 3 cards of your, or look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You can reveal a Haven Follower from among them, add it to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you can pay 1 and bury this card and summon a follower with Meowskers in its name from your hand. We don't have that, so we're just gonna look at the top 3, get a follower, and then we'll use another effect to bury this, to get their effect, like Sheridan here. Similar, we have Pilgrim's Path, 1-drop amulet. You can pay 4 and bury this to give your leader +2 and draw 2 cards. And then on last words, you summon a Holy Falcon, which is a 2/2 with Storm. So once again, we could do the pay the cost to heal 2, draw 2. Not too bad in the late game. Or we can just play this, yeet it to like Sekhmet or Sheridan, and then we get a Falcon. Really good. Similarly, we have the Sealed Tome. It's another 1-drop amulet. You can pay 5, bury it, and select an enemy fall on the field and destroy it, which is pretty good. So it's a 6 total to just blow up something, which is not a great rate, but you know, if you have to, you have to. And then on last words, you heal your leader 1 and you draw a card. Once again, you sack this to another effect, heal 1, draw 1, and then do the effect of the card that cares about it. And the final 2 cards, we will showcase Jean first, and then we'll showcase the other dude because he's kind of like a nice include. So Jean's just a generically pretty good card for this deck because we are running a lot of Jean stuff. And this Jean cares about Jeans. So this is a 3-drop 2/3. That I do believe this one also is this is the one from that also got the reprint in Seaside Memories. So she evos for 1, and then on Fanfare you draw a card. Then if you have at least 2 followers with Jean in their name in your cemetery, she gets another +1/+1 and Storm, which is actually like pretty sweet. We have a lot of Storm in this deck. And then when we evo her, she becomes a 3/4. On evolve, we can summon a Haven Follower that costs 2 or less from our hand. So unfortunately, we cannot choose Alice for this effect, but we can choose any of the other Haven Followers. And then on strike, we select a Haven Follower that costs 2 or less from our field, and we give it +1, which is +1 attack, which is really, really sweet. And once again, we're running the other 3 Jeans, so this Jean works really well with all the other stuff going on. And then the final card is I don't know how to pronounce this guy. Jetalent, God of Prosperity. He's a 6-drop 5/5. Fanfare, banish 2 amulets from your cemetery, select an enemy from the field, banish it, deal 3 damage to its leader, and heal our leader for 3. So we just yeet 2 amulets from our cemetery, and then we just banish something, dome the opponent for 3, and then heal for 3. And then you can also do his effect of banish an amulet, and you can summon a Haven Follower amulet that costs 3 or less from our hand. Once again, doesn't work with Alice, but it works with all the other stuff. And then activate this once per turn. So, yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, like this. If this card was put into the field by an ability, you evolve it. So once again, these are ways to get free evolves off of for Rolla. So basically, Jean can get a free evolve on Rolla, and then so can the God of Prosperity. So yeah, this is a sweet deck. This is a sweet amulet control deck. We play a bunch of amulets. We sacrifice them to get their effects. The big weakness of this deck is that it's kind of like an A plus B deck, right? Because if you just draw the amulet side of your deck, it doesn't do a ton. But if you draw the amulets plus the payoffs, it can be really, really sweet. I think that's the really big downside of this deck in particular, but it is, in my opinion, one of the more interesting Haven decks that you can play right now. And it also uses a lot of new cards, which is really, really cool. I think the big downside, once again, between this one and a lot of the other decks is these decks just like synergize and everything works really well together. Like just getting this and just kind of fuels everything, and everything just kind of gels together. Same with the Draconic Duelist. The Natura deck is a little bit more of a plus B kind of deck, but it also flows really, really well. Oh man, I just love the Abyss deck. I'm really excited to play with this more. And then of course, the aggro sword, you just jam dudes and punch your opponent's face. So yeah, that's the deck tech, like an hour later. Oh, hello, welcome back. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a little bit of a longer one. Let me know what you think of this new format. I can also summarize the decks a little bit better, but I kind of wanted to do a deep dive as I normally do and talk about all the cards and all of the effects and how they all work together. Hopefully this is useful for folks out there who are looking to build a new deck with the new combined set. And just have a good time. I do believe these are among the strongest decks in Shadowverse Evolve right now. And yeah, like I said, let me know what you think of like the new format and all that kind of good stuff. And we're going to end that here. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as well. And well, we'll see you next time for some more Shadowverse Evolve content. See you later, everyone.